All right. Welcome to Very Good Yoga with Billy. If we haven't met before, my name is Billy. And for today's class, you're going to need 2 blocks somewhere at the top of the mat, the highest height. But that being said, if you have a third block, somewhere at the back of the mat might be helpful. Let's get started. Let's come into a Tadasana at the top of the mat, please. So your feet are either together or about hips width distance apart. And allow your eyes to close and the arms to rest down by your sides. Start to deepen your breath. And maybe with your eyes closed, you can notice the body find a little bit of a sway as it starts to or tries to find balance in the feet. Press the feet down, lift the thigh bones up. Straighten out your arms, reach your fingertips down into the floor. And for Tadasana, folks, the palms are facing in towards the body. I know a lot of teachers like to turn the palms forward, but the objective with Tadasana is to find a more neutral position. Take a few more breaths here. Lift the tips of the ears up into the ceiling. Bring your hands to a prayer position at your heart. And if you would like, please join me for one sound of Om. Take a full breath in. Om. Start to flutter your eyes open. And on your next inhale, reach the arms out and up. Urdhva. Lift your belly. Maybe bend your knees on an exhale. Uttanasana, forward fold. Keep your hands on the floor. Inhale, flat back. Prepare for plank pose. And for this first one, just step, and come into a plank pose. Same things we did in Tadasana. Straighten out your legs. Reach your heels back. And the crown of the head forward. Keep looking forward. Inhale. Chaturanga is the exhale. Inhale, come up into your back bend, upward facing dog. So the toenails are pressing down. The thigh bones are lifting really well. Downward facing dog on the out breath. Send your hips up high. And for this first downward facing dog class, if you'd like to fidget, maybe you pedal out the feet, bending into the knees. Maybe shake out the head left and right, side to side. For me, I never really truly realized how much tension I'm holding in my head and neck until I just shake it out in downward facing dog. And all of a sudden, there's like all this new space. Take a full breath in. And on empty, look forward, bend into your knees, hop, step, or fly to a forward fold at the top of your space. Inhale, flat back. Exhale is fold. Inhale, come up to stand. Reach the arms up, look up, maybe see your palms touch. And then keeping this height, slowly lower the arms down by your sides. Inhale, Urdhva, reach the arms overhead. Pause in this one. Lift your front ribs. Lift your back ribs. Lift your middle ribs. And on your exhale, fold. Uttanasana, hands come down to frame your feet. Inhale, flat back, look forwards. Exhale, chaturanga, whether you step, or land with bent elbows. Inhale, come up into back bend, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, hips go high. So I think generally speaking in down dog, like a little bend in the knees is a really good thing. But then reach your tailbone, reach your hips up and back as high as they will go. And reach the crown of the head down to the floor. Full breath in. On empty, look forward, bend into the knees, hop, step, or fly to your forward fold. Inhale, flat back, Ardha Uttanasana. Forward fold is the out breath. Leading with your chest, inhale, come up to stand, reach the arms up. And then keeping this height, lower the arms down by the sides. So even though the arms are going down, the heart and the chest and torso are still going up. Inhale, Urdhva, arms go overhead. Keep lifting the front and the back ribs. Lift the belly, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Look forward. Chaturanga is the exhale, lower. Inhale, find your back bend. Toenails are long. Exhale, downward facing dog for 5 more breaths. Press into your palm, your thumb, your index finger. Grip the mat with all of the fingertips. And then what if I asked you to roll the elbow pits forward? So you create external rotation at the shoulders. Full breath in. On empty, look forward, bend into the knees, forward fold at the top of the mat. A little bit different this time. Grab your 2 blocks, the highest height, and put them underneath your hands. Start to find a flat back. Reach the crown of the head forward and draw the shoulder blades away from the ears. Keep looking out in front of you. Bend into your knees just a little bit. And then as you bring your feet a little closer together, pluck the left foot off of the floor. So it's almost like this crouched supported warrior 3. And then you might have guessed it, supported warrior 3. Reach the left leg back into space. Straighten out your left leg more. And lift up to the inner left thigh so the left toes can point down into the ground. Now keep in mind, it's kind of early for something like this. So that being said, maybe this is where you stay. But if you would like a little bit more, reach the arms out in front of you or bring the hands to prayer at the heart. I've got a wall in front of me, so I'm going to modify this one myself. If the arms are forward, biceps are up or triceps are down. So just like you would do in Urdhva Hasta. Lift your shoulders higher than your hips. Inhales, lengthen. Warrior 1 is the out breath. Step the left foot back. Reach the arms up high. Full breath in. Chaturanga is the exhale, lower. Inhale, find your back bend. Upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Ground your right heel down. Step your left foot forward. Warrior 1, inhale, come up. And when you cannot inhale any amount more, Chaturanga is the exhale, lower. Inhales, back bend, Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Bring your feet a little closer together and lift the right leg up into a 3-legged dog. Listen carefully here, folks. Keep the right leg straight. Point through the right toes, and with the straight right leg, open your hip. So it's kind of like you're in half moon with your legs and hips. Your hips are stacked, but again, the right leg is straight with your open hip. Melt the left heel down, lower to the mat. Lift the right leg up as high as you can to create more space in your hips. Square off your hips, take all that new space with you. And then flex through your right foot. Full breath in. Exhale, twist. Right knee to the left elbow. Hold the pose. Look forward in front of your mat. And with the right leg lifted, squeeze the thighs together. For 5, 4, 3. For 2, step your right foot forward on 1. And on your next inhale, come up into a high crescent lunge. Upright the torso, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, prayer twist to the right, to the right. Connect the left elbow outside of the right thigh. So your forearms are vertical and the right elbow should be pointing more or less up into the ceiling. Reach the crown of the head forward. Maybe look over the right shoulder if you're looking for something to do with the eyes. And then maybe this is fast, maybe this is slow, this next transition. But step your left foot next to your right foot and come into a twisting chair at the top of the mat. Now option 1, you stay right here. Option 2, if we're feeling pretty good about our twist today, put your left hand on the floor, maybe a block, and reach the right arm up. So it's pretty crucial that you have something underneath your left hand, whether it's a block, a water bottle, maybe it's your dog, who knows. But we do that so that when you press the left hand down, you get more length across the chest. You get more lift with the right arm to the ceiling. Inhale, chair pose. Come back to center. Belly to thighs, hands to floor. Forward fold is the exhale. With bent knees, slowly roll up to stand and come into a Tadasana at the top of the mat. Keep your right foot on the floor and bring your left foot into tree pose, please. So the left foot will wind up on the inner right thigh. The left leg goes out, but not so much that it takes the right hip with you. So your hip bones are squared with the front, just like you would do in Tadasana. Reach your arms forward, hook the right thumb in front of the left thumb. And then as you try to pull your thumbs apart, lift the arms into the ceiling so that the biceps are alongside the ears. And maybe look up, maybe you see your hook grip. Press the right foot down, reach the outer right hip towards the inner right heel. One more breath. Tadasana is the exhale. Step the left foot to the floor and bring your arms by your sides. Second side, bring your right foot into tree pose. For me, I actually like to put my hands on my hips just so I know that they're leveled and even with the front of the space. And then once you have your legs and your hips set up, reach the arms out in front of you and hook the left thumb in front of the right. I call this Tang Mudra. Lift your Tang Mudra up into the ceiling. Continue to try to pull your thumbs apart, and if it's appropriate, look up and see your hook grip. I teach a lot of high school and college kids, and I use that cue sometimes, the Tang Mudra, and it's what, 2021, right? That reference is a little outdated for some of these kids. And I'm not old, but it makes me feel a little old. One more breath. Lightly step to a Tadasana with the right foot down and the arms by the sides. Like I'm 32, right? I shouldn't feel that old. Inhale, reach the arms up, Urdhva. Exhale, forward fold is the out breath. Put your hands on blocks, the highest height, and find a flat back, reach the crown of the head forward. Remember this from forever ago? Find a soft bend in your knees. Bring your feet a little closer together and pluck the right foot off the floor. So you're kind of in this crouching supported warrior 3. Supported warrior 3. Reach your right leg back. Flex through the foot like you could leave a footprint on the wall behind you. Lift through the inner right thigh. And if this was good for you before, reach the arms forward or bring your hands to prayer at the heart. Shoulders lift higher than your hips. Belly is drawing up. One more inhale, lengthen. Warrior one is the out breath. Step the right foot back, reach the arms up into the air. Inhale. Chaturanga is the exhale. Inhale's your back bend, Urdhva Mukha. And on an out breath, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Ground your left heel down and step your right foot forward. Warrior one, inhale, come up. And on an exhale, take it down into your low push-up. Inhale's your back bend, Urdhva Mukha. And on an exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Bring your feet a little closer together and lift the left leg up into a three-legged dog. Keep your left leg straight. Point through the toes, just like a ballerina would do. And with the straight left leg, open your hip. Yeah, try to resist the urge to bend the knee. I know we don't normally open the hip like this in yoga, but stay with it. Notice what comes up here. Could you melt your right heel closer to the floor? Lift the left leg up as high as the left leg will lift. Taking all that space that you just created with you, square off the hips, flex through the foot, and invite a full breath in. Exhale, twist. Left knee, right elbow. Hold the pose. Your gaze is in front of your yoga mat, so you have the length with the neck forward. The left foot is lifted, but the thigh bones are squeezing in for 5, shaking, 4, 3, for 2, step your left foot forward on 1, and come up into a high crescent lunge. Inhale, come up to stand. Prayer twist to the left, to the left. Connect the right elbow outside of the left thigh. Reach the crown of the head forward, so it's almost like you're doing the work of an up dog with the torso. Hug the left hip in, and if it's okay on your neck, look over your left shoulder. And maybe this is fast. Maybe this is slow. But step your right foot up to meet your left foot and come into a twisting chair at the top of the mat. So option 1, you stay right here. Option 2, open up the arms so that the right hand finds the floor. Maybe the block and the left arm reaches straight up into the ceiling. If your right hand is like really close to the floor and a block is too much, even the lowest height, try bending your knees more. Try lowering your butt down. Inhale, chair pose. Forward fold is the exhale. With bent knees, slowly roll up to stand and come into a Tadasana at the top of the mat. Close your eyes. And let's take a moment here. And just notice how we feel in this Tadasana versus the first one we did in class. Noticing the quality of the breath, the heart rate. Flutter your eyes open. And bring the left leg into the left hand. So starting to set up for an Utthita A. You could grab the foot. You could even use a strap if you would like. I'm personally going to keep the knee bent today myself. The right arm will go up last. Press the right foot down and reach the outer right hip towards your inner right heel. So it's almost like your standing leg is in Tadasana. And really nothing at all should change about this right hip. As you open to an Utthita B, reach the right arm out to the side. Open up the left leg, but not so much that it takes the right hip with you. If this right hip starts to turn, you're going too far with your left leg. If you'd like a little bit more, he says while he wobbles, bring your left eyeball to your right thumb. So the outer right hip is still reaching down towards the inner right heel. On an inhale, come back through center, Utthita A. And on an exhale, switch hands, right hand, left shin or foot. Utthita C, reach the left arm back into space. I'm going to turn it again so you can see me from the side. Keep thinking about what you're doing on the floor with the right foot. And honestly, I'm not so interested in whether or not you can grab the left leg. I'm mostly interested that you have a straight, long spine. 2 more breaths. Make your way back through center, Utthita A. So the left leg is still lifted. Both arms will reach up. Eagle the legs, left leg on top of the right. And then left arm underneath the right arm for full expression of eagle. Garudasana. I know that right leg is tired, but keep bending into the knee so your hips sink low, almost like you would do in a chair pose. Your elbows are in line with your shoulders, and the palms are pressing away from the face. One more breath. Keep your eagle arms and start to unravel into a really quick warrior 3 with eagle arms so that we can transition slowly into our standing split. Unwind the arms and maybe you bring your hands down to frame your standing foot. Maybe you take your right forearm around your right calf so you can fold into your thigh. Keep your gaze at the back of the mat and press your right foot down really well into the floor. One more breath. Both feet are down. Forward fold. Keep a bend in your knees. Roll back up to stand, Tadasana. Second side. Bring your right shin into your right hand and start to set up for an Utthita A. Lift the left arm up into the ceiling. Again, I'm going to turn so you guys can see what I'm doing from the front. Reach the outer left hip down towards the inner left heel. So the left hip firms in towards the body. Soften your right shoulder. Utthita B. Reach your left arm out to the side. Reach the right leg to the right. But again, just like we did earlier in our tree pose in the last Utthita B, it's not so much that the left hip bone goes with it. Stand up straight. And if you're looking to play with the balance, bring your right eyeball to your left thumb. On an inhale, come back up through center. Switch hands. Left hand, right shin, thigh or foot. Utthita C. Reach the right arm back into space. So it's your one-legged standing twist. Maybe your left eyeball goes back. The left rib cage is turning towards the inner right thigh. Inhale, come back through center, Utthita A. So both arms reach up, the right leg is still lifted. Eagle legs, right leg on top of the left. Right arm underneath the left arm for the full expression of eagle pose. And even though that left leg is getting tired, Bend deep into your standing leg. Sink your hips low. Lift the eagle arms up so the elbows line up with your shoulders and your palms press forwards away from your face. Last inhale. Keep your eagle arms and reach your right leg back for a brief warrior 3 with eagle arms. And then keep your eagle arms for as long as you can, but eventually meet me in a standing split. So the hands are down on the floor. If this was good for you before, left forearm around the left calf. Your gaze is somewhere at the back of the mat, and you're lifting up through the inner right leg. One more breath. Forward fold is the exhale. Step your right foot down to meet your left foot. With bent knees, roll your way up to stand. Come into a Tadasana at the top of your mat. And then step your right foot to the back of the mat. Parallel your feet with the short edges of the mat. Reach your arms out left and right to a T so you have a straddle stance going on. Turn your right toes to the back of the room. Turn your left toes slightly in and up the mat, warrior 2. So the outer left hip still firms into the body. Reach the inner right groin forward towards the inner right knee. But then what if I asked you to wrap the outer right knee back towards the outer right hip? Keep going down with your legs as you inhale. Reverse tip back. Extended side angle. Put the right hand outside of the right foot and swim the top arm forward. So this is what that third block might be helpful with today. Press the right leg into the right arm. And of course, if you want a modification, you can always do forearm on the thigh. Turn the heart center up into the ceiling. Reach the left arm straight up into the air. Look down at the floor. Half moon pose. Float the back left leg up and up off the floor. Make sure that your right toes are pointing straight ahead. We have a tendency to pigeon toe the standing foot in half moon. Reach your outer right hip back towards your inner left heel. And continue to flex through the foot like you could leave a footprint on the wall behind you. Full breath in. Warrior 2 is the out breath. Step the left foot to the back of the mat. Straighten out the front right leg. Parallel your feet once more with the short edges of the mat. Turn your left toes forward. Your back right toes slightly in. Virabhadrasana B, warrior 2. So get long with your stance, right? Warrior 2, it's the longest standing pose that we do in yoga. Firm the outer right hip in. Reach the inner left groin forward towards the inner left knee. Go lower with your legs as you inhale, reverse tip back. Extended side angle. Utthita Parsvakonasana. Reach the top arm forward. Reach the right arm as far away from the back foot as you can. If the left arm is outside of the left leg, press the thigh into the bicep. 2 more breaths. Reach the right arm up, look down at the floor. Half moon pose. Float the back right leg up and off the ground. And you might use a block here. It's totally fine if you want to use the floor. Make sure the left toes are pointing straight ahead. So the inner left thigh rolls forward. But meanwhile, the inner right thigh is rolling back. And that's going to cause your toes, your right toes, to turn down just a little bit. One more breath. Warrior 2 is the exhale. Step the right foot to the back of the mat. Straighten out the front left leg and just step back up into a Tadasana at the top of the mat. So the right foot comes up to meet the left foot. Inhale, arms go out and up. Urdhva. Exhale, forward fold. Option to take a Bakasana crow pose. Bring your big toes together to touch. Come up high onto the balls of the feet and put your knees in the backs of the triceps. Press your palms down. Look forward. And see if you can get your toes off the floor. So if you're doing this, you're trying to stay here for about 5 to 8 rounds of breath. The inner elbows, the inner legs squeeze in like chaturanga. Vinyasa, however you'd like, make your way back into downward facing dog. Okay. Let's make our way onto our backs, please. Maybe you step, hop, jump, float. Make your way onto the floor, and as soon as you get there, step your feet onto the ground. So we'll see how we're doing on time, but we'll do a couple back bends here. Make sure your feet are close enough to your butt, so when you reach with the hands, you can grace the Achilles with the fingertips. And then press your feet down, lift your hips up, and come into bridge pose. So we did a lot of folding and hip hinging today. So part of the reason we save back bending and bridges for the end of class, so we can counter, so we can extend in the front body. Snuggle the shoulders underneath you. And if it's appropriate, grab the outer edges of the mat and try to pull it apart. Last few breaths, press your feet down and forward. On exhale, come back to the floor. And one of the other reasons we say back bending for the end of class is we just need to simply be warmed up for it. I hear a lot of students tell me that they struggle with back bends, but to be honest, most people struggle with back bends. Probably like 99% of students struggle with back bends. Back bendings are hard. Bridge pose. Press your feet down, lift your hips up into the air. And maybe this is where you stay, but if you are interested in taking a wheel pose, reach the arms overhead. Place your hands wide to frame your face. Inhale, come up onto the crown of your head. Squeeze your elbows together. As you exhale, straighten out the arms and find your wheel. Feet press down and forwards. Inner thighs roll towards one another and your heart reaches back. Make sure you're breathing, especially if you took wheel. And exhale, eventually make your way back to the floor. Take your time if you're still working on something. Close your eyes, and like we did earlier, come back to the vibration, come back to the buzzing that happens in the body whenever we do yoga, especially when we do back bends. one, before we get too comfortable, come into a bridge pose. Press your feet down, lift your hips up. And maybe you stay here, but if that wheel spoke to you before, frame your face wide with your hands. Inhale, come up onto the crown of your head. Squeeze your elbows together, straighten out your arms. Wheel pose is the exhale. Again, 5 to 8 rounds of breath if you can. And once you've gotten to that 5th, 6th, 7th, or even 8th breath, try to stay for at least one more. And if we're still there after that one more, try to stay for 2 more, 3 more. Just try to stay up for as long as you can. Just because I think and I believe that we're so much stronger than we really know. But when you're done on an exhale, come back to the floor. Supta Baddha Konasana, feet are together, knees are wide. So you more or less have this diamond shape in your legs. Close your eyes. Maybe you reach the arms overhead in this lazy U shape. If you would prefer though, feel free to place your hands on the body, whether that is one hand on either side of the ribs, or maybe even one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. Eventually start to flutter the eyes open. Hug the knees in. Take a few rocks up and down the length of your spine. And eventually meet me in a comfortable seat facing the front. Set up for double pigeon. Bring the right shin on top of the left shin. A couple options for modifications. Like if you look a little something like this, you could put a block in between your shins, or frankly, I think this one I'm about to show you is the better of the two. Just find a comfortable cross-legged seat. Like if you're here and you're modifying and you feel any kind of stress or struggle, I want you to do less. Just because if we continue to experience that and just try to like power through it, what's going to happen is we're going to get tighter, which is not really why we come to yoga. Walk your hands forward and fold. For me, I think it's about balance. You know, even speaking to a pose like double pigeon, on the one hand, you have this lengthening happening in your legs. But you're not walking your hands as far forward as you can. You're trying to create some stability here. So the weight stays right in the middle of your seat. The back body presses forward into the front body. And option 1, you stay right here. Option 2, maybe you start to explore and walk your hands over to the left. So your sternum is hovering over the sole of the right foot. If you'd like to make this a twist, place the right elbow in the arch of the right foot. Make a fist with your right hand. Paper covers rock. Twist. So the left palm is over the right knuckles. The left elbow points up to the ceiling, and if it's okay on your neck, look over your left shoulder. Again, if you are in any of these shapes and you feel like you are struggling or just pushing yourself a little too much, do less. If this isn't your idea of a good time, find a variation that will serve you. Full breath in. Slowly on the exhale, come back through center. Upright your torso, straighten the legs forward, and then set up for the second side. Left shin is on top of the right shin, but if you modified before, go ahead and modify again here. Keeping the weight right in the middle of your sits bones, and with a long spine, walk your hands forward. It's all about the balance, trying to find that equilibrium between opening and stability. When I use the phrase inhales lengthen, I think we always think lengthening of the muscles, but I actually want you to find stability. Maybe you say here, if you would like a little bit more, exploring on the first side was good for you, walk your hands over to the right and hover over the sole of the left foot. If that twist spoke to you, hook the left elbow in the arch of the left foot. Make a fist with your left hand, paper covers rock, twist. Turn your sternum towards your right thumb. And maybe the gaze goes over the right shoulder. Maybe take 2 or 3 more rounds of breath here. Last breath. Slowly on the exhale, come back through center. Straighten the legs out in front of you. And let's come down into our Shavasana. And if there's any particular Shavasana shape you would like to take today, maybe put blocks underneath the knees. Maybe you have a blanket and you cover the body for warmth and grounding. At the end of the day, Shavasana, it's so much more than like the sensational thing that we do at the end of yoga class. It's still a pose. So we'll hold here. Start to close the eyes. And take a final scan of the body. One more breath. And on an exhale, open up the mouth and let it go. No more work, no more effort. Shavasana. If you are prepared to leave Shavasana, start to deepen the breath. If you need a little bit more time to rest, stay here for as long as you'd like to. Start to invite some smaller movements back into the body. Within the fingers, the toes, the hands, and eventually the feet. Bend your knees, step your feet onto the floor, and hug the knees into the belly. However you'd like, keeping your eyes closed, make your way up into a comfortable seat facing the front, facing your monitors. Sit up taller. And to seal in your practice, please bring your hands to a prayer position at your heart. Guiding the thumb knuckles up and into the sternum, please invite a full breath in. Open up the mouth, exhale to release. Thumb knuckles to your forehead, your third eye center. Thank you for sharing your practices with me today. Go in peace. Namaste. Thank you, yogis. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope you had a good time. And if you did, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that's it. If you guys have questions, comments, feedback, or anything like that, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And that's it. I hope to see you guys soon, and I hope you guys are doing okay. Thank you so much. Bye.